From being a game-time decision to recording 105 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns, Jahad Thomas's presence was certainly felt. It may not have been enough to pull out the win, but it's a sign of great things to come. Now, although he won't get to play another season with this year's seniors, there's definitely a bright side to Brown's situation. He may not have gotten to play much this past year, but now he's granted another full season with a chance to make the postseason one last time. You started off, of course, as a walk-on for this team. Right. Can you talk a little about the journey that you've gone on from your freshman year to where you are now? Going into this game, we talked the other day about how it would be tough to defend it because it's not something you see every day. After the game, we talked to players, and when asking what went wrong and why the triple option was so difficult to defend, the main reason they had is just because it's different. It's not something they see a lot, and it's so difficult to prepare for. After a momentum-halting 10-goal loss to the Florida Gators on April 22nd, the women's lacrosse team made its way up to the University of Connecticut to take on the UConn Huskies. Following a shaky 3-4 start, the women's basketball team has gone on to win 8 of its last 10. This hot streak is thanks in great part to a girl they call Ra.
My middle name is Rashay. I'm named after my father, and that's just where Ra comes from. There was once a Nicki Minaj song where it's like Ra, Ra, like a dungeon dragon. And all through high school, people used to say that in the stands.
It wasn't exactly the path Donasia Fountain thought she would take on her way to Temple. In 2013, Fountain was the top-ranked high school women's basketball player in Massachusetts. Then came her trip to Georgia Tech.
I recruited her coming out of high school, and we were one of her final 3, I believe it was. And then she decided to go to Georgia Tech.
After her freshman year, Fountain decided that Georgia Tech wasn't what she expected. The Boston native then made the trek to Philly to join Tanya Cardozo's Owls.
I chose Temple because I knew that I was going to be pushed to try to be the best player I can be. I didn't feel as if I was getting that there at Tech.
Fountain redshirted her sophomore year due to NCAA transfer rules. She took advantage of this time instead of wasting the year away.
My redshirt year helped me grow as a young adult, to realize that basketball can be taken from you at any given second. After seeing minimal playing time in the team's first 6 games, Fountain has started in the last 11. She's now second on the team in rebounding with 103.
She's big and long in the paint, so it's easy for her to get deflections. She's quick. She gets up and down the floor. She runs the floor. It's just exciting having her playing with us.
Coming out of high school, she was basically a slasher, and now she's able to knock down the open jump shot. She wants to be great, so she wants all the feedback possible to try to get to the next level. That's something that she aspires to do, to be the absolutely best.
Fountain is now on her way to becoming a staple for the Owls. While she's only a 6-foot guard, she adds intensity to this team with her shutdown defense and her need to be the best. Reporting from the newsroom, John Ginsburg. When the topic of Philadelphia sports is brought up, roller derby is most likely not the first thing that comes to mind. Although the sport has been around for nearly a century, its popularity has fluctuated, resulting in multiple hiatuses and subsequent revivals. The most recent revival began at the turn of the century, and today, it's still going strong nationwide.
The resurgence of derby started about 2005, and we were one of the first leagues to come back. So Texas was one of the first to say, hey, let's try this again. And then Philly joined, and New York kind of took us under their wing. And so they started in 2005. I joined like a year or even like 3/4 of a year later, and been doing it ever since.
Going roller skating as an activity is not exactly foreign to many people. But what is it that motivates someone to make the jump from casual roller skater to rough and tough roller derby athlete?
I was on a first date actually, and I went to a 70s disco roller skating party at Carmen Gardens in North Philadelphia, and it was so much fun to be on skates again. So I just looked into how to do that as an adult, and I found roller derby.
I saw a game out in Denver. Almost probably a decade ago. I sat on it for 2 years, so that was really cool. But it was a females only game, and I was like, that's really neat. It'd be cool if men could play that. And then I got a wild hair 2 years later. Said, I wonder if there's a men's team anywhere in the area. And lo and behold, there was one less than 15 minutes from my house.
These athletes are clearly as tough as they come, but believe it or not, they got their starts just like the rest of us. Birthday parties and free skates at roller rinks.
I used to skate in 7th grade. We went every Friday night, and we danced to Mariah Carey, Hero, as we were roller skating. You hope to have a couple by the end of the night, but I hadn't really done it since then.
I had maybe skated at some open skates at like 5th and 6th grade prior to that, but no, did not have much skating experience. We had rookie coaches at the time that trained us, and then the rest of it was just kind of like learning as you go.
This quirky sport wouldn't be complete without creative nicknames. All nicknames, chosen by the athletes themselves, are entered into an international database in order to avoid duplication.
Mullen Munster, like from the Munsters, the TV show.
I am a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for about a decade now. Actually, just shortly before I started roller derby, I graduated from nursing school, so yeah, Nurse Ratchet.
Gingivitis worked on I kind of hate teeth. I hate teeth and dentists. It's like an anti-dentite kind of thing. And there's also like a South Park reference to it because gingers suffer from gingivitis because we have no soul, so it worked on both levels.
From North Philadelphia, for Philadelphia Neighborhoods, I'm Jonathan Ginsburg. The most important thing right now is that this team is conference champions for the first time in almost 50 years. So let's take you back to Annapolis to Navy Marine Corps Stadium. The Owls headed into Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium looking to snap the midshipmen's 15-game home winning streak. And they don't waste much time in doing so. Jihad Thomas takes it to the outside for a 15-yard touchdown run, capping off a 12-play, 75-yard opening drive. Temple leads 7-0 early. After a turnover on downs for Navy, the Owls find themselves knocking on the door of the red zone again when Philip Walker hits Ventel Bryant from 22 yards out. Bryant nabs it and strolls into the end zone, putting Temple up 14-0. Think it's time for Navy to answer? Think again. After a fumble recovery on their own 30, the Owls take a deep strike, and it pays off. Walker sends a beauty down the field to a wide-open Keith Kirkwood for a 56-yard score. Less than 2 minutes into the second quarter, Temple leads by 3 touchdowns. With less than a minute left in the half, Aaron Bumeri, who missed an earlier try at 50, redeems himself by hitting a 48-yard field goal. Move to the second half. Owls up 24-3. Navy quarterback Zach Abey fights his way past the goal line for the midshipmen's lone touchdown of the day. They cut the Temple lead to 14. But it was never a close game. Following an interception by Hassan Reddick, the Owls end it. Raquel Armstead finds a hole and blows past the Navy defense for a 30-yard score. So quick, our cameraman can't even catch him. And just like that, the Temple Owls are the American Athletic Conference champions. This is their first conference title in a whopping 49 years. And the Owls are just 3 years removed from the 2-10 season in Matt Rule's first year. The fans are hyped, the team is hyped, and the Owls are on top of the world. Your final, 34-10. The term walk-on can be a bit misleading. While walk-ons join the team without an athletic scholarship, the opportunity to earn playing time is always there. At Temple, some walk-ons have gone on to become the backbone of the team. Most recently, soon-to-be drafted Hassan Reddick and single-digit fullback Nick Sharga. On Saturday, another player was added to that list. They had these long drives that really led to their scores, but at the same time, South Florida had short drives and they were led by bigger plays. Most of their touchdowns were 30 or more yards. So it's great that Temple kept the ball and it allowed them to score more, but if they're letting up touchdowns in 1 or 2 minute drives, then that's still an issue for them, I think. The main thing that we've seen is just a balanced offense where they're not forcing Philip Walker to throw the ball too much. He threw the ball so many times in that Memphis game, and obviously it didn't do anything. And they barely ran the ball. Now that we've seen a lot of the running game, it's just been a lot more beneficial for this team as far as their success.